Ever noticed how some homes just feel peaceful, while others always seem to be caught in a whirlwind of stress and arguments? It might surprise you, but the difference could be something as small and familiar as what's hanging on your wall or tucked in a drawer, a set of rosary beads. These aren't just pretty trinkets or family heirlooms. They carry a spiritual power that many people overlook, even as it quietly holds the potential to transform a household from the inside out. Saint Pio of Pietrelcina, also known as Padre Pio, believed these beads were much more than symbols. He saw them as a direct link between a home and divine protection. So if your household has felt off lately, constant bickering, unexplained tension, health troubles, financial stress, it's worth pausing and taking this message to heart. The answer might be simpler than you think. People have always turned to prayer in hard times, but St. Pio's experiences shine a unique light on just how powerful consistent prayer can be. In his eyes, it wasn't just a source of comfort. It was armor, real spiritual protection that could surround a family and keep darkness at bay. He didn't just talk about this, he lived it. His life was full of spiritual challenges, but he found strength and protection through heartfelt, daily prayer. That message hits even harder today. Let's be honest, we're constantly bombarded with negativity, distractions, and stress. It's easy for homes to feel drained and vulnerable, and that's exactly why this old wisdom about the power of prayer is more relevant than ever. It offers a grounding force in a world that often feels upside down. If you've ever believed in the protective power of prayer, now's a good time to reaffirm it. And if prayer hasn't been part of your family's daily rhythm, this might just be the wake-up call. Because what I'm sharing isn't just meant to uplift you, it's based on actual spiritual experiences and teachings that have helped families find peace and strength when they needed it most. So what happens when prayer becomes a regular part of home life? A lot. Not only does it bring in calm and connection, but it also seems to set off a chain reaction of positive changes. And it's not just theory. This has played out in real homes, with real families, time and time again. St. Pio saw it firsthand. His teachings weren't meant to be lofty or out of reach. They were deeply personal. He often talked about his nighttime spiritual battles, moments when darkness felt heavy and overwhelming. But prayer cut through that darkness. He described it as creating a shield of light around him, something real, something protective. And he saw that same shield form around homes where prayer wasn't just an afterthought, but a daily, heartfelt practice. These homes, he said, developed a kind of spiritual atmosphere you could actually feel, like walking into a space where something just feels right, lighter, calmer, safer. And it wasn't just a feeling. Families in these prayerful homes experienced real changes, better communication, unexpected solutions to long-standing problems, and an inner peace that visitors could sense the moment they stepped through the door. Think of it like this: prayer acts like a spiritual lightning rod. Instead of letting negativity build up or strike without warning, it channels it safely away. And in that space, something powerful can grow. St. Pio called it a divine connection, a steady, quiet flow of grace and protection that surrounded those who welcomed prayer into their daily lives. Over the years, he watched this transformation happen again and again. Families who were once overwhelmed by tension and hardship began to heal. People weighed down by anxiety found peace. Relationships mended in ways no one expected. It wasn't magic. It was the steady, faithful rhythm of turning to prayer. Not just as a ritual, but as a real source of strength. And maybe that's the message we need most right now. When the world feels chaotic, when your home feels off balance, when nothing seems to work, the path back to peace might begin with something as small and sacred as a rosary in your hands. There's something important you need to know before we go any further. St. Pio made a clear distinction that too many people miss. Owning prayer beads or religious items doesn't mean much if they're just sitting around gathering dust. He often warned that these sacred tools don't work like good luck charms. To truly unlock their power, you've got to use them. They're meant to be engaged with, used regularly in prayer, not left untouched in a drawer or hung up like decoration. Understanding this difference is key. If you want your home to be truly protected by prayer, it's not about having religious symbols, it's about what you do with them. So how can you tell if prayer is actively shielding your home? According to St. Pio, there are 3 clear signs that let you know divine protection is at work. The first is what he called supernatural peace. This isn't just things being quiet for a while. It's a deep, steady calm that stays with your family even when life gets tough. You feel it in the way stress doesn't take over like it used to, in the quiet confidence that your home is spiritually secure, and in the way anxiety starts to fade from daily life. The second sign shows up in your home's atmosphere. When prayer becomes a natural part of family life, something shifts. The air feels lighter. Tensions that used to spark arguments begin to dissolve before they can flare up. It's like there's an unseen peacekeeper working behind the scenes, quietly helping things stay calm and connected. And then there's the third sign, the one St. Pio called divine intervention. This is when the really powerful changes happen. People in prayerful homes often report that fear, stress, and strange feelings of heaviness start to fade away. But it doesn't stop there. These families grow stronger together, more protected from harm, and better at making good choices, even in tough situations. It's like prayer builds a spiritual force field around your household that shields and strengthens it at the same time. But here's the thing. These signs don't appear overnight. They unfold as prayer becomes a real, consistent part of your routine. Sadly, many families miss out on this protection simply because they don't pray often, or they treat prayer like a last resort instead of a daily habit. That's why it's so important to understand what happens when we neglect regular prayer. You might have religious symbols in your home, and maybe you even say the occasional prayer, but if it's not consistent, you could be blocking the very blessings you're hoping for. St. Pio talked about this too, and what he observed might explain why some homes stay stuck in spiritual struggles. He called it dormant protection. When prayer beads are just sitting unused, they become symbols of what's missing, not what's working. It's like having a powerful tool right in front of you, but never picking it up. And then there's the trap of false security. Some families believe they're spiritually protected just because religious items are present in the house, even if no one's actually praying. That kind of thinking can be dangerous. It creates complacency. It's like having a fire extinguisher but never learning how to use it. The most heartbreaking part? Missed opportunities. St. Pio often spoke about unopened gifts from heaven. Every day you don't pray is a day you might be missing out on guidance, peace, and spiritual strength that your family could truly use. That's how powerful prayer can be, and how easy it is to overlook. And yet, here's the good news. No matter how long prayer has been absent from your home, you can start fresh today. The moment you decide to welcome prayer into your daily life, things can start changing. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be willing. That decision alone begins to restore your spiritual foundation and bring that divine protection back into full force. In the next part, I'll walk you through exactly how to build a prayer routine that works. Not just something you try once and forget, but a rhythm that fits into your life and helps transform your home. These steps are based on the same guidance St. Pio gave his followers, and when families take them seriously, the results are often nothing short of incredible. Why does this matter so much today? Because St. Pio seemed to see what was coming. He warned that a time would come when families would face spiritual challenges like never before, a time when distractions, division, and fear would shake the very foundation of the home. Sound familiar? That time is now. We're living in an age where anxiety is almost a given, where arguments seem to erupt for no clear reason, and where emotional and spiritual struggles are more common than ever. In this kind of environment, prayer isn't just helpful, it's essential. It becomes a lifeline. St. Pio described prayer not as a duty, but as a real spiritual defense system. He explained that its protection works in 3 ways. First, it changes the feel of your home, creating a peaceful space that naturally pushes away negative energy. Every prayer adds strength to that spiritual atmosphere. Second, prayer supports your family's mental and emotional well-being. In a world filled with fear and pressure, it acts like a filter, helping to clear your mind and settle your emotions. St. Pio observed that families who kept prayer at the center of their lives became more resilient, more hopeful, and far less shaken by the chaos outside their door. Here's one of the most powerful truths St. Pio taught. Prayer does more than offer comfort. It actively protects your family. In times like ours, when so many things seem to pull families apart, prayer becomes a kind of spiritual glue. St. Pio described it as a bond of grace. a connection so strong that even when outside forces try to create division, families that pray together stay spiritually united. But here's the catch. This protection doesn't just kick in because you say a few words now and then. To fully experience what St. Pio called prayer's protective power, it needs to be intentional and consistent. And he laid out exactly how to make that happen. His first piece of advice is beautifully simple. Create a prayer space in your home. You don't need to build a chapel or light incense every night. Just set aside a visible, peaceful spot where the family knows prayer happens regularly. Think of it like a small altar or sacred corner that reminds everyone of your shared spiritual focus. Keeping it somewhere central, like the living room or kitchen, helps make it part of everyday life instead of an afterthought. The next step, consecrate your commitment. That might sound formal, but it's really just about gathering your family and stating clearly, this is our intention. We're bringing prayer into our home to protect and guide us. According to St. Pio, this simple spoken dedication carries real spiritual power. It activates prayer's potential in a deeper way than just jumping in without a clear purpose. After that comes consistency. And St. Pio couldn't stress this enough. Regular prayer, even just 5 focused minutes each day, does more than one long session once in a while. It's like exercise for the soul. Showing up every day is what strengthens your spiritual core. Pick a time that works for your family and make it a daily habit. The point isn't how long you pray, it's that you show up with intention and sincerity. To create the right mood, St. Pio suggested a few simple touches. Keep the prayer area neat, turn off distractions, maybe light a candle to mark the moment as sacred. This isn't about being fancy, it's about creating a peaceful setting that helps everyone focus. One more practice he strongly encouraged: hold hands during prayer, at least once a week. Gather the whole family and pray together physically connected. That single, simple act can deepen the impact of your prayers. It's a visible sign of unity that invites even more protection and peace into your home. But none of this works without the right mindset. St. Pio reminded us, prayer isn't magic. It's not a button you push and wait for results. It's a real connection between you, your family, and something far greater. Each time you gather in prayer, you're building a bridge between your home and divine help. And here's what St. Pio promised to families who follow through: spiritual benefits that aren't just possible, they're guaranteed if you stay consistent. The first promise: immediate protection. From the very first sincere family prayer, a spiritual shield begins to take form. It's not symbolic, it's real. Many families feel it almost instantly, a sense of safety and calm that wasn't there before. The second promise is something he called progressive peace. At first, you might just notice fewer arguments or calmer conversations. But over time, that peace deepens. Conflicts start to resolve faster. Tension feels easier to manage. And your home becomes a safe space that supports healing and connection. And then comes something even bigger: protection that follows your family beyond your front door. St. Pio said that families who pray together don't just protect their homes, they carry that spiritual shield with them. Whether it's school, work, travel, or any challenging situation, the influence of daily family prayer goes with you. Many people report moments where they felt protected, guided, or calmed in ways they couldn't quite explain. Finally, there's the personal impact. When prayer becomes a habit, it starts changing the people involved. Negative habits start to lose their grip. Good judgment becomes easier. Faith grows naturally. It's not forced. It just unfolds, like a plant growing toward the light. St. Pio saw it again and again. Families who pray together begin to live in alignment with the values they once only hoped to follow. But, and this is key, all these promises rest on something St. Pio called transformative perseverance. It's the difference between starting strong and staying strong. It's the quiet, steady rhythm of showing up even on the hard days. And it's what takes prayer from a religious duty to a living relationship that protects, heals, and uplifts. So if you're wondering whether prayer really can change your family's life, St. Pio's answer is clear. Yes, but only if you commit with love, trust, and consistency. Because in that daily act of reaching for something greater, something incredible begins to take root. And before long, you'll see the difference not just in moments of peace, but in the entire atmosphere of your home. Let's talk about what truly makes prayer work. Not just as a quiet ritual, but as a force of protection that transforms your home. St. Pio called it transformative perseverance, and he believed it was the secret ingredient that separated families who experienced the full blessings of prayer from those who only saw glimpses of its power. So what does transformative perseverance really look like? First, it's about trust. You keep showing up in prayer, even when nothing seems to be changing right away. Think of it like planting seeds. You won't see the flowers tomorrow, but deep roots are forming. Second, it's about focus. Each prayer should be intentional. St. Pio emphasized that it's not about how much you pray, but how present you are during prayer. That quiet awareness is what activates divine protection. And third, it's a shared journey. Prayer shouldn't fall on one person's shoulders. It works best when the whole family embraces it, understanding that they're helping build a spiritual shield that surrounds everyone. These three traits, trust, mindfulness, and shared commitment, form the heart of transformative perseverance. And they're what truly unlock all of St. Pio's promises about prayer's power to protect, heal, and guide. Without them, the practice risks becoming routine. With them, it becomes life-changing. At this point, you've heard a lot about what prayer can do for your home, but it all comes down to this. You have the ability to bring that divine protection into your family life, starting today. As St. Pio said, prayer is the best weapon we possess. And the amazing part? This weapon costs nothing. You don't need special training. You don't even have to leave your house. You just need a sincere heart and the will to begin. Take a moment and really reflect. How often have you longed for more peace at home? For protection that goes beyond what the world can offer? For deeper unity or spiritual strength? Prayer offers all of that. And it's been gifted to us for times exactly like these. We're not living in ordinary times. Anxiety, fear, disconnection, it's all around us. But that's precisely why now is the moment to act. Prayer isn't some old-fashioned ritual from the past. It's a timeless spiritual safeguard made for today's challenges. You don't have to wait for things to get worse. The moment you choose to bring prayer into the center of your home, things can begin to change. So if this message speaks to you, take 3 simple steps today. First, create a visible, dedicated space in your home for prayer. This sends a powerful message to your household and to heaven. Second, share what you've learned with 3 people you care about. St. Pio taught that passing along spiritual insight is one of the highest forms of charity. And third, if you're ready to make this shift, type "Protect my home" in the comments below. This small act of faith might just open the door to special blessings. Everything we've talked about here isn't theory. It's a practice that has changed real lives. Families all over the world, across generations, have experienced the peace and protection that comes from daily prayer. That spiritual wisdom is part of your heritage, and it's ready for you to claim it. If you found this message helpful and want more spiritual guidance, consider joining our God Protect Me membership community. You'll get access to exclusive videos, personal prayer tips, and a supportive community of people who are walking the same path. And don't forget to subscribe to our Saints Teachings channel for regular inspiration and practical strategies to keep your home spiritually strong. Click the notification bell so you never miss out on a new video. And if you feel called, share this message so more families can benefit. May your home be filled with lasting peace. May every prayer you say become a shield of light that guards your loved ones. And may the presence of heaven settle over your household, bringing strength, calm, and clarity with every passing day. Until next time, remember this. Spiritual protection starts with a simple choice: to put prayer at the heart of your home. God bless you and your family.